What is up, everyone? This is Tea Time with Robyn. We are back. I forgot what episode this is. I think it's 71. I'm not sure. But if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. What's up, Robyn? How you doing?
Well, I'm telling you, that music, girl, that guy
I know,
listened
right?
to that.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. It's a good one. And we got a rockin' show for everyone today.
We do. So, starting out, I mean, you know, what are you gonna do? So the Bills was at home this week and on Saturday, and they came out not so well, sloppy. I'm just going to call it sloppy. It was a big old mess. It was a pile of mess fest. The loss to the Steelers, everyone was just not up
Here,
to par. Like, they were terrible, right? The offense, but let's be honest. The offense was vanilla. The defense was vanilla. I mean, no pass, no play action, no motion, no nothing. They didn't want to show their hand, and we kind of knew it, but did we think that it was going to look like that? And let's just be honest, the Bears was a top defense last year. So, I mean, let's just put that in perspective. And this is their second preseason game. But still, Robyn, how did you feel about this freaking game?
it was a steamer. It was a steamer. But here's the thing, and I know a lot of people have been talking about that this week, but good heavens, when I watched the game, you realize that Chicago came in, they had the extra preseason game, but they also had a game plan.
Oh, yeah.
They were game planning, and the Bills were not game planning at all.
Yeah.
And so I don't look at these preseason games as anything more than like a scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't really even think about the score that much. You know, it was 6-3 going way into the second period before the lid
Josh
came.
got pulled.
Yeah, everything kind of fell apart for them. But the point of a first preseason game is to see where different position groups are at. You're not game planning. You're trying to see, what's the offensive line look like? How does the running game look with the offensive line? And what's the chemistry between the wide receiver and the quarterback? And how is the defense looking in terms of pursuit? All that kind of stuff is what you're looking at in a preseason game. So the score is really irrelevant. It truly is irrelevant because there's so many factors that go in to the bottom line being the game doesn't count. Okay, people? The game doesn't count. So don't get all upset because of a preseason game. Now, is that saying, am I saying this? Because this is the other thing. This is what's wrong with Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. You don't get the full story. Now, I'm saying it doesn't matter. I'm not saying position groups, certain players, that there aren't certain things to be concerned about. That's a completely different issue than the score of the game. So that being said, this game, it was a steamer. But out of it, and we'll talk about it later, but out of it came I thought, some very good things. And like you mentioned on our little list, because we have lists, folks.
Yes, we do. But before we get into the good, right? That being said, expectations when it comes to this Bills team, and Sean McDermott had some remarks. He was kind of perturbed, I want to say. He said, I don't care who we play, where we play, or what time the game is. There is an expectation of play when you put the Buffalo Bills colors on. He said that the play wasn't up to their standards on Saturday. They know there's new coaches in the building. So maybe saying that is because I want you new coaches to understand this is my expectations when it comes to this organization playing for the Buffalo Bills. Like you said, putting on those colors. So ugly game. You had 11 penalties, Robyn. 11 penalties. Pre-snap penalties. Come on. What are we doing here?
And how many times have we seen where I've said this to myself, well, it's a preseason game and it's just a preseason game. And then we see it carry over into the season.
You
right?
can't, Sean McDermott, I think if his head would, if it would just would have blew off. He was so freaking red. And as fans, yes, preseason game, whatever. As a coach looking at your team, false start after false start, alignment issues, false start again, alignment, false. What are we doing? Like you could have some penalties, but to false start, that's got to be just. I mean, yes, you're going to have communication issues. But I mean, that was sloppy, Robyn. That was sloppy. It's different than being beat up, right? But when you're playing like a very sloppy, it just
beating yourself up.
Yeah, and they do that. They tend to do that sometimes.
Yes, and the part that's, like I said, the part that concerns me is history, because this team has under Sean McDermott, even, and others as well, take their bad habits from the preseason into the regular season.
Right.
And that stuff has to stop.
Game 1, you got to come out ready.
And that's what he's talking about in terms of the expectations. Yeah. And he's right. And he's absolutely right about that. I wrote something down, and it has to do with two issues. One is the sense of urgency that McDermott talked about. Also, the lack of this sense of urgency that you're in mode, man. You're supposed to be in mode. You have this sense of urgency. It's all happening right now. It's not, this is a preseason game. This is a glorified practice. We'll just go out and do whatever. That is the part that I think McDermott saw that lit him, that lit him on fire. Now, the other thing, and I'll ask you about this because I want to know what your thoughts are. The other thing is fundamentals, what you're bringing up. What Bobby in the box. Bobby
in the box. I love
Bobby in the box. He had one word for reporters after that game.
Yeah.
And they asked him what the hell happened. And he said fundamentals.
He was teaching. They were trying to teach fundamentals that game.
Fundamentals. Fundamentals in a sense of urgency, right? They're kind of related, but they're totally related. Mm-hmm. So the whole thing is about, and McDermott kind of alluded to this, I thought. What I took from his words were directed, as you pointed out, as much to the position coaches. Everybody has to be on task. Everybody has to be ready. The sense of expectation, when you put on the uniform, you don't go out there half-assed.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought. Sorry for the people that don't like swearing, but that was half-assed performance.
Yeah.
And that's the part that's concerning. So
yeah, I don't care about the win or the loss of the game. I care about the fact that you came out and you were just, and we tend to over exaggerate when it comes to certain things because we don't know and what they're trying to do. But looking in our own eyes, from our own eyes, that looked like, okay, I get what you're trying to do. That's what you're saying, right? But your head coach is right. Your head coach is saying something totally different, but then you're saying this. So I'm okay. All right.
A shit show.
Look, it better be different. The next game. Let's hope. But moving on, Let's talk about. So there was no injuries from the game,
Mm-hmm.
but there was a scare from the game. Ed Oliver first snap. I was like, oh my god, when it first snap. You know the first person I thought about when that happened. You know who? You know who? And I was like, no, I know. They took him out immediately, checked him out. He was fine. Um, Sean just shut it down. They said he could have went back in if needed to be. If it was a regular season game, he would have went back in. But Sean was like, no, you're good. We're good here. We're good. Even the Josh Allen run. I said, does Josh not know this is preseason? I don't
No,
think he has a switch, Robyn.
he doesn't. He admits it.
He ran. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, the other thing is that's so funny about this. Did you see how he slid?
Yes. He slid on us.
Like, what do you put your knees on the ground and slide forward?
Yeah.
What is that, Josh? You can't slide on your butt. You know, you can't slide like everybody else slides. You got to go knee, both knees.
Yeah, I was just like, get him out. Get him out.
That's
Get
why
him out.
it was like, you're done.
Just get
You are
him
so
out.
done.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah.
they seen that I was pulled him out immediately, but no injuries from the game itself, but there were injuries that happened this week.
Mm-hmm.
Claypool is IR. He's done for the season. I guess they can bring him back. If you guys want to know how they can bring him back, you can go to Sal Capaccio's Twitter handle, and he explained it. So I'm not going to. Quarterback Boucher, isn't that pronounced his name right?
Bouchel
suffered a neck injury. He is done for the season, and they brought someone else in for the third string practice quarterback.
Ben DiNucci.
Oh, Ben DiNucci, right. Yeah. Ben DiNucci. So, I mean, yeah. So I guess that's some good. That's some good.
Yeah.
And we got some guys coming back actually this upcoming practice. Well, they came back on Monday, but this upcoming practice against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which we're going to talk about later on, some guys are back as well. But let's talk about some good, because this game kind of left a nasty taste. But let's talk about some good. You want to start it out?
I'll start it out. There was good. There was good. There was actually a lot of good.
Mm-hmm.
And some good that I saw that I know people are going to say, well, this is just against the third string, whatever. But as much difficulty as the Bills had running the ball, the guy who did the best job was Frank Gore Jr.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
he caught the ball. He looked like, I swear to God, he looks like his dad.
He does. He
looks so much like his dad. But the point I'm bringing up also brings, okay, well, that's good that Frank Gore Jr. looked good in limited action against third string people.
Mm-hmm.
But James Cook did not look good.
Yeah.
And so since we're talking about the good, we'll just leave it at that, okay?
We'll let that bus go by.
I mean, let that bus go by. But the other thing that I've got several things here. Tyler Bass. We needed that kind of a game from him.
Yes.
Because he was kicking in the wind. That wind was a mess in that stadium.
Yeah, it was.
Tasker was talking about how all the flags were flying in different directions and everything was swirling. And so I was very nervous about Bass. And he made both those kicks. And that was important for his psyche and the rest of the Bills fan base.
As of right now, I think it's more mental and everything for Tyler Bass. Tyler Bass has a powerful leg. Like, he has a very strong leg. And that's why he is here in Buffalo. But I also think that last season was rough. It was a rough season, and to finish the way it did for him might have messed with him mentally a little bit. So we really didn't pay attention too much when it came to Tyler Bass last offseason and his kicking and what he's missing and stuff like that. And now we are, because of what happened last year, our
Right.
focus now is, what did Tyler Bass do in practice? Did he make it? Did he miss? What's going on? Like, it's just becoming a little obsessive when it comes to Tyler Bass. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been that way too. I think I'm just gonna back off, because if he's 85%, I mean, that's pretty good as a kicker, So I don't know. I don't want our whole existence or a game is on Tyler Bass's back, because if it is, I guess it should not be. You know what I mean? It should. I don't know. But you want to have a reliable kicker. You do.
You do, but you also don't want to have a kicker whose head is messed up by
Yeah.
the fan base's expectations.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so that's where, okay, we want to be the best fan base in the league, then let's back off on all the hits on Tyler Bass.
And
He-
it's just, it's
It
nasty.
doesn't do any good.
It doesn't. He's still here, and you're
It
doing
doesn't do
this
any good.
stuff to this guy.
And if you don't think that it does play with their head, it does play
Absolutely.
with their head. They can say that they don't listen to, all the buzz and blah, 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 but their families do.
The man have to get off the social media. He had to delete his freaking page.
It's sad.
It's sad.
It's very
It's sad.
sad. And so yeah. Now, getting back to where we were talking about the
good, because Tyler Bass, you did good, buddy.
You did good. Kendall Williamson,
Okay.
number 36, defensive back. I thought he popped. He popped in different places.
Mm-hmm.
Made a few mistakes, but I thought at the same time he looked very promising and stood out to me. So the guys that stood out for me actually were guys that probably not a lot of people would have thought, but Frank Gore Jr. and Kendall Williamson, I think both had pretty good games. So
yes, I would say, where is it? I wrote it down in my other notes. I was going to say about Ray Davis. He popped in a great pass protection. They were trying to blitz Josh, and he came up and put a block on a guy. So, I mean, James Cook is not that great when it comes to that, but you have Ray Davis who can do it.
He can.
And
if we end up having any kind of a problem with James Cook and fumbling, that sort of thing, I have absolutely zero anxiety about putting Ray Davis in and letting him do his thing.
Right.
So that's where I'm at with all of that. I'm not dogging on James Cook yet, but it's a concern. I'll just leave it at that. It's a concern. I'd like to see more of a sense of urgency from him. And I know people talk about the fact that he's, this is just his way and he's just this kind of guy and whatever. But it's showing in the way that he plays that he's being cavalier is the word that I'm looking for. And so when you get to that sense of urgency that McDermott is talking about, I wouldn't be surprised if some of that wasn't directed at James Cook, because he needs to play with a better sense of urgency in my
opinion. I like that. Shakir had his first catch like that. I'm going to talk about Shakir in my spill the tea. Coleman had his first catch. I'm looking at Shakir. I apologize. There's a dog barking in the background. My apologies, because I have the window open because I'm up here in the attic. So, and it's nice and cool. So, Shakir did. He had 2 catches, run after catch. Listen, not too much was spoken about when it came to Khalil Shakir in training camp, because he's Mr. Reliable, right?
Totally.
He could just get into the zone, find the little weak spot, and just sit there. Yeah, and just sit there.
He has the best hands.
He does.
Totally has the best hands, and we need that That's
Yeah,
something that Josh needs to know, that he has a wide receiver that he can count on, and Shakir catches everything.
he does. He does.
He catches.
Curtis Samuel, screenplay, love it. Bubble screen, whatever you want to call it.
Oh yes,
Beautiful.
give me
We
more.
talked about this, me and Robyn, this off season about Josh not willing or liking to do the whole screen. And it happened, and I was like, oh my God.
Exactly.
Another weapon, another element to this offense that we as fans have been chomping for. The
Yes.
screen game. Yes. And
Yeah.
it went for what, 17, 15, 17 yards?
Yeah. It's going to be wickedly effective,
Right.
and this is not Josh's forte, which is part of the reason we haven't seen it for
Right.
so long. Because
Yeah.
this goes, for me, this goes all the way back to when he played at Wyoming. This guy could hurl a 70-yard pass better than he could a 5-yard bubble pass.
Right. But if this adds a different element to your offense, you have a guy that can do it and he's fast, you got to put him
Like
in
you
there.
said in the last pod, I believe it was, that every year Josh goes away and decides that he's going to work on one part of his game.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And this might have been something that he's been working on during the off season, because it has been a criticism of him legitimately, that he pays more attention to the mechanics of the bomb than he does the 5-yard screen pass.
Right.
And so this would be an area of growth for Josh Allen that I think would be very welcome. And Joe, go ahead.
No, go ahead. My bad.
I was just going to say, Joe Brady, I believe that's part of the offensive scheme that he likes, is deception, and
Mm-hmm.
the screen pass and those little bubble passes. Those are wonderful. And let's face it, there's no book on Josh for these because he's thrown so few of them over his career,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like, so we don't know what his habits are. This is like, oh God, we got brand new
He
Josh.
has us what? A
Another
screen?
whole dimension of his game that's
Oh,
gonna.
great. Awesome.
Hey,
That's what defensive players are saying. I mean, defensive
oh
coordinators are
God,
saying.
we
Oh,
can't go.
great. Awesome. What was I going to say? Oh, also, too, we didn't get a catch for Dalton Kincaid. Didn't get a catch for Dawson Knotts. Almost had Quentin Morris over the middle. Oh, do I want to talk about that? I forgot to talk about this.
What did you want to talk about?
Okay, let's go back to the badges for 1 second. Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh,
Let's just let it pause there for a minute. Robyn,
find the words.
I don't know,
Find the words, T.
and I don't want Josh to be nowhere near that word. Mitchell Trubisky, Robyn. It's not given. You can handle the job. Like, you had a wide open Morse, and I don't know what you thought you were doing there. And maybe I'll give some of it to Morris, Quentin Morris too. Every time I see Quentin Morris catch a ball, I just see like he's like fumbling over his feet. So I mean, I don't know. I don't want to have to worry about my backup. So I'll just leave it. Oh my God, I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to have to worry about my backup. What is that? I don't have to worry about my backup, so I'll just leave it at that. But yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel you. 100%. It wasn't pretty.
No.
That might be also where some of that sense of urgency was directed from Sean McDermott.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, there were players. It wasn't just James Cook. Mitch Trubisky was like not there.
He looked like shit.
He did. I really hope that this was just a blip for him, but you have to wonder, because the man went from being toast of the town in Chicago his rookie year, and then I don't know what happened to him.
I
I don't know what happened to him, but this is a testimony, though, is it not, to what could have happened to Josh Allen if he fell to the wrong team,
exactly.
the Jets. You know, the Jets destroy quarterbacks. That's their thing.
Yeah.
So I've said that for years. If Josh Allen had been drafted by the Jets, he may never have been the quarterback he is today.
Let's just talk about that, right? But before we get into that, I mean, we just want to segue too. I want to give a grade from this mess.
You really want me to do it?
Oh yeah, because I got mine here too.
Okay, well, I'll give you mine first because it's pretty. This comes from having been an instructor, a teacher at college level.
Okay.
All right. This is the grade that most often came from the students who were less motivated. Let me put it that way. I am giving them a grade of incomplete.
I like it.
Okay.
You're nice.
Hi.
You're nice and kind. Hello, Robyn.
Yeah, I'm going to give them an incomplete because honestly, I do think they deserve an incomplete. I don't know what I saw.
You said I don't know what is that?
What is that? What did we see? I don't know what we saw out there. It was a mess. It wasn't organized. There wasn't a sense of urgency. The fundamentals weren't very good. And there were some good things that we saw. So what kind of a grade? I don't know. That's why I have to give them an incomplete.
I gave you a D. Like,
let's go.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. Robyn's a professional. She's a former professor. I'm giving you a D. I don't know what that was out there. Okay. Like, you came out, and I get that this was their second game. I understand it. But you came out and said, well, this is what we're going to do, guys. We're going to practice and teach the guys the fundamentals of football. No! Then if that's the case, if you're giving the fundamentals of football, then I'll give you an F. Just kidding.
That's
I'm not
going to
All right. But getting back, because we're going to switch and we're going to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. But before we do that, we got some tea.
Other things to talk about.
We got some tea. Got to spill some tea.
For me, come on, just spill that. Come on, just spill that. Spill that tea for me. Spill no dirty tea. Yeah, tell me everything. Come on, just spill that.
Okay, you're going to spill first.
Okay, so my spill the tea is woosah. Woosah. We can all do it. Keon Coleman is a rookie. Okay, guys? He's a rookie. And if he separates, he separates. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But here's the thing. I don't want you guys to overreact or underreact. Don't overreact. Okay? He's a rookie. He caught one ball. He didn't catch the balls in the red zone. Okay. But this is a long NFL season. And I'm not going to go crazy on a preseason game. I'm not. And I don't really have really great expectations for Keon Coleman. I don't. This is just me. And I'm not saying that you should feel what I'm feeling or, do what I'm doing. I just don't. I don't have expectations for rookies that come in the NFL. I don't. I didn't have expectations for O'Cyrus Torrence. He blew us out of our minds because he came in there and was like, okay, college, NFL, no problem. But we can't expect that from every rookie. And I don't expect it from a wide receiver. I don't. I mean, if anybody's going to elevate him, it will be Josh. But if he doesn't, I'm not going to be like, see? I'm not going to do it. So that's my spill the tea.
Well, since you're spilling it, I'm going to ask you.
Yep.
Do you think that maybe the expectation should be somewhat like what we saw from Dalton Kincaid last year, because they don't bring those rookies in and boom, go. Dalton Kincaid was limited for the first half of the season. He played in a very limited role, in a very limited capacity, until they felt like, okay, you're ready for this big stage. You're ready to take on more. This is what I think they're doing with Keon Coleman.
Mhm.
Probably should be what the expectation. Use Dalton Kincaid as an example. It
And
took
but not even that, Robyn. I think he exceeded his expectations because
he absolutely
remember,
did.
we had Ken Dorsey the first 6 games, right? And
Yes.
then after that, Joe Brady used him. Just imagine if
Yes.
he had Joe Brady the beginning of the season. But I'll say this: I heard a podcast, and I can't remember who it was because I really want to give him credit. And it might have been Sal Capaccio in their podcast. They were saying like expectations that they have for the rookies when they come in. If they know
I think I heard that.
in college what they're used to doing, they're going to put that over into their first year of the NFL.
Right.
They're not going to do too much for them. They're just going to like, what you did over there, we're going to try to do it here. We're going to give you some more different, routes or whatever, concepts or whatever, but we're not going to put too much on your plate. And I like that.
Bingo.
Personally. Yeah. Yeah.
Bingo.
I think it was Sal Capaccio that said it. But
It
yeah,
was.
I mean,
And Joe Brady also, he took the offensive playbook and completely broke it down, changed the language, changed all of the stuff, and made it into his own system. And apparently, what is interesting about his system is just what you said. It allows players to come in and gradually increase their expertise. There isn't too much expected of them until they're ready to take their game to that next level.
Right.
But having your playbook finally cleaned out and one system put in place, I think that's big.
Yeah. And he also says to them, what do you like? Right?
Yeah.
What do you think your best route is? So that's also good as well. And we're going to see it. It's going to be on display this upcoming season, and I can't wait. But Robyn, what is your spill the tea?
Well, I'm spilling the tea, and you guys are going to be sick of this tea. I've been shoving this tea down your throats, and I'm going to probably keep shoving it down everybody's throats for the next couple of months because it's pump the brakes.
Pump the pump, 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 pump.
I wrote an article, if you hadn't seen it, on the website, buffalofanbase.com. Pumping the brakes, people. Really, we cannot go insane over a preseason game. And furthermore, and this is really the point I want to make in terms of spilling the tea, don't expect too much at the very beginning of the season. We have like 20 some new players that are going to be playing pivotal roles. We lost, I don't even know how many years of leadership in terms of captains and the number of long-term captains that we had on the team. Mitch Morse is gone. Micah Hyde is gone. We've lost leadership. So that's not something that develops overnight. So at the beginning of this season, the rooms, even though people are kind of putting it together on the field, and they are, the mental part of this, the leadership part, the part where the glue, where everybody knows where everybody else is going to be, all of that takes time. And I think that we, as Bills fans, set ourselves up for failure a lot of times because we expect too much at the beginning of the season, and in particular this year. So if you guys don't like hearing this spill the tea, I can guarantee you're probably going to hear it again. So that's my spill the tea.
Okay. Listen, I just got some news, not really some news. So there's a picture, cover one, of Matt Milano, and the guy's crying. No, I don't know if that means. And then there's in the thread, people are crying, and this is from Cover One.
Okay, so is he out for the season?
I don't know, Robyn.
That would be well. Here's the thing. Can I just talk about Matt? Because I
Go
even wrote
ahead. Yes, please
a
do.
couple of things about that because you wanted to know what we want to expect in the Steelers game. And I said this the other night on a different podcast, K Gun Report. Thank you guys. Um, Seriously. And you heard me say this on this podcast throughout the
Ugh,
whole preseason. Matt Milano has been a worry to me. And then we heard rumor only, but now it's rumor, I believe,
yeah.
that Brandon Beane was trying to shop him during the off season because
Mm,
Brandon Beane sends players away about a year before they fall apart.
yeah.
And this is not meant to any offense to Matt Milano, but
Right.
for one thing, a tibial, and we've talked about this, the tibial plateau fracture is serious. The comeback from that is akin to an Achilles. It's serious. And some players are never the same. And have we reached a point? And I know he's not old. I think he just turned 30.
He just turned 30.
Right. But some people fall apart faster.
I
The
know.
wheels come
But
off.
could and I don't want to believe this is true because this is not confirmed at all. This is just I just went on Twitter, wanted to know if anything's going on with the joint practice that's happening, and that's our next conversation we're gonna have as well. And then I just so happened to see that, and I'm like, because
Well,
I'm in this group.
here's the thing. We have to, and this is the bottom line. Dorian Williams.
It's
Those
his
are the
time.
two
If this is
words
right,
I have to say to you. It's Dorian Williams' time. Please, let's get this guy up to speed and let him get as much playing time as he needs because I have had great fear about this all summer long, all off season long after I found out Matt Milano had a tibial plateau fracture that this was going to be a dicey situation. And then you had an elbow injury that we do know was confirmed the
right.
other day. So something's going on.
All right.
So
So Matt Milano is trending. I don't know why he's trending. Uh, so yeah, apparently he's. I don't want to confirm this at all, but I won't say it because you said
don't.
something about his bicep, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
If he
I don't
has a
know.
bicep, if he has a bicep tear, then he's done. And this was my fear. Honest to goodness. Go back and listen to all the podcasts we've done in the off season. My biggest fear on defense was Matt Milano not being able to make a return. And so here we are. So it's Dorian Williams time, folks. And that's what we got to deal with.
Yeah.
And we can't get too sentimental about it, no matter what it is. It's we
Next
haven't
man
even,
up.
you know.
It's next man up, and I mean they played without Matt Milano last year. It looked a hot mess when it came to the playoff game against Kansas City.
But Bobby in the box.
They're gonna have to listen. If I know anything about this defense and these
Bobby in the
coordinators
box.
and Sean McDermott, Bobby in the box, they're going to fight. Okay,
They'll
I'll
find
say
a
this.
way. They'll find a
I'll
way.
say,
And
right. I'll
Dorian,
say this, and we can move on.
yes.
You do remember when Edmonds was shipped out, and they were saying we probably have somebody on our roster, and we all were saying, "What is he talking about?
And then
What is he
Terrell Bernard,
talking about?" So
right?
let's
So
just leave it at that.
and at that, but P.S. in the Bears game, one of the highlights I saw was Dorian Williams play.
Yeah, and if he can just slow down a little bit more, he's going to be.
The game's going to slow down even a little more for him. And
Yeah.
now this is his chance. I
Yeah.
mean, this is Dorian Williams' time, people.
Yeah,
Let's
you got him for a reason.
third round. It wasn't like a 7th round flyer. Okay.
And you see the potential there.
Oh my
You
God.
see it.
He's bigger. He's more athletic at this point.
And you went out and got some vets, and you went out. If anything, if they went out and got like 7 freaking linebackers.
We're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna be okay. We're gonna
We
be okay. Okay.
All right, so let's move on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's, like I said, there's joint practice. Sean McDermott, I think, is having a presser today at 12:30. So we're doing this before everything has happened. And again, this drops on Friday. So if anything happens between now and Friday, we won't have it. We apologize, but hey, we're here for you. But let's talk about it. So the next game is on Saturday at 7:00 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who we lost to last year in a preseason game. We were here like this last year, guys. So I can say this. What I want to see next game, I want to see our O-line improve. I want some push. I do.
Run blocking.
Yes, communication, no penalties, no false starts. Come on. Pre-snap, come on, y'all. I want to see improvement there. I think that's it for me. I just want to see, I want my mind at ease as a fan with this O-line. And I get new freaking center, new right guard, right? Right guard. So, I mean, that's it. That's all I want. Is there anything that you want to see in this preseason?
Yes, I want to see the safeties look more comfortable in their role. The safety position is extremely important in Sean McDermott's defense.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got this safety group put together with Band-Aids at the moment. So I'm going to be looking at the back end. And I was focusing so much more on the corners because I thought the corner situation was going to be a disaster, but it's turning out it might be an asset. Kyrie Elam is stepping up to the plate. So I'm less concerned about the boundary than I am the safeties in the middle of the defensive backfield, and then add to the Milano situation. And I wrote down here Dorian Williams, and I wrote it down for this reason, because I didn't have any faith that Matt Milano was going to be able to be effective, especially early on after his tibial plateau fracture. Now add whatever it is that's going on in this situation, not good. So it's Dorian Williams' time. And then the other thing I wrote, which goes along with what you said in terms of the offensive line, the run game has to be, they have to be able to run the ball a bit better.
It was so clunky.
It was out of rhythm. It was like the offensive line and the running backs were not.
Did you see the play in the third quarter? It was the third quarter. I think it was third string, it's third string, but the ball snapped and they were still standing there, and I was like, okay, I
did see that. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I know it's third string, but communication.
Yes.
And again, I think I want that communication from, the center. I want it all through the whole line. It just it didn't look in rhythm at all. And the O-line has to be one.
Yes. And they were not one.
No. They weren't. Not at all. Not to cut you off. But
no, that's fine. That's right up my list. But that's pretty much what my expectations are. And again, I don't care what the score is.
Yeah.
I want to see position groups playing more effectively, the fundamentals in place, the lack of pre-snap penalties like you're talking about, the focus and the sense of urgency, all of that. That's what I'll be looking for.
For sure. Well, we did it, Robyn. Another one down. Look at us. Look at us. But we're definitely praying when it comes to the Matt Milano injury and hoping that it's just maybe be out for a little bit of time. And I'm hoping. I'm not going to lie, I'm hoping. But that being said, this has been Tea Time with Robyn. I am T. She is Robyn. we are Bills fans. I mean, we like to come to you and have it light. We are not professionals here, but we like to keep it light. So that being said, guys, thank you for tuning in. Always go
Bills.
Bills. And I gotta do this.